What up? And welcome to another episode of From the Script to the Screen. The Jujutsu Kaisen edition, episode 17 of season 2 is out now, covering chapters 117 to the start of 120 from volume 14. And as always, first and foremost, want to shout out the creator, JJK. Want to give a shout out to the studio MAPPA. The animators did a great job this week portraying the battle between Sukuna and the Divine General, one of Megumi's Shikigamis. Love the animators' portrayal in the battle. Changed the location of some of the scenes, so it just emphasized how grandiose this battle was supposed to be. Definitely shook up the city. A battle that I would say felt throughout Japan. Getting into the episode, even though it was action-packed, I also enjoyed this episode because we got some more information about some curse techniques. Right off the bat, we can start off with Megumi, and we see that we get a little bit more information about the 10 shadows, and we learn that the first Shikigami that they're blessed with are the divine dogs. And after nurturing, and I guess you could say maturing your technique with the divine dogs, they're then expected to take on other Shikigami, and once they vanquish them, they then are able to have control over them. So Megumi has a flashback to a conversation between him and Gojo, where he learns a little bit of history between the Gojo clan and the Zenin clan. Of course, we know that the Limitless technique and the Six Eyes rarely exist at the same time. And so the last time that these two phenomenons existed at the same time led to a grand battle where the two competitors killed each other. And so ever since then, you can say that there's been beef. So Megumi deduces that this Divine General, basically the last level of Shikigami, through the history of the Zenin clan has never been defeated. And so he assumes that this Shikigami was used in the same way at the time. Something that I thought was pretty cool was the fact that we learned that through the rituals, if the caster has help extinguishing the Shikigami, they might not necessarily gain control over them, so it's worthless for the caster, but again, it has its purpose. Megumi calls this Divine General because he comes under attack, and so he forces the person whose name I always forget. This time I got my book in my hand so I remember. Haruta is forced to partake in the vanquishing ceremony, and so after the Divine General attacks Megumi, he then starts to go after him. But luckily for him, Sukuna jumps in and saves both of them, because we've learned before that Sukuna has an interest in Megumi, and we can obviously see why now, because the Shikigami that the Shadows technique possesses are very valuable. We see that throughout the battle. The Divine General is able to adapt at a rapid pace, let alone has some very strong tools at his disposal. Mentioned the sword that has constant positive output, so damn near reversed cursed energy, something that would be lethal to any cursed spirit. And like we saw, just has the ability to adapt to anything. We see that it's able to actually see Sukuna's curse technique, something that we haven't necessarily seen yet. And again, like I said, we learn more not only about Sukuna's curse technique, but also his domain expansion. One of my favorite panels, they tell us that he has 2 attacks, and this week there was a little bit of differences between the manga and anime and what certain names were, so I'll stick to what the manga was. But the attacks cleave and dismantle, but the main attack, dismantle, which is a slash that could attack any object, and cleave, which is the attack that could be adjusted according to curse energy output, we learned are the two attacks. And his domain expansion, unlike any other, doesn't have a barrier. And so they describe it's like a artist basically having open canvas. Long story short, it has no limit, no restrictions. And so basically, Sukuna using his domain expansion to take out the Divine General, unfortunately, as we even saw throughout the battle, left no chance for anybody within this range out of where Fushiguro was, the one person he's trying to keep safe. And we see the quick slaughter of any cursed object or human that was around. But Sukuna's mission was a success, and he's able to drop off Megumi to Shoko and the principal of Jujutsu High. We know that she has outstanding healing capabilities, and so Megumi should be fine. But in the aftermath of all this, we see that after Sukuna's time is up, Yuji's basically left heartbroken after all the destruction he's caused. He basically considers himself a murderer, but it's not necessarily his fault. He's just victim to circumstances out of his control. Even Haruta, like I mentioned before, whose curse technique is basically luck, his miracles are based on the number of lines he has under his eyes. We saw that he basically ran out of them during his fight with Nanami, but he still had a little bit of life left in him. But after this, being so close to Sukuna, we see that he even fell victim to the domain expansion. Just like I said last week, to make it even worse, even though it's a sliver of hope, they leave us with the disturbing image of Nanami making his way through the subway station. Know that he was burned by Jogo, so he is badly hurt. But again, if he's able to make it out of here, and like I said, that's how they leave us. But I'm looking forward to next week. At some point, our guys gotta start fighting back. And now Sukuna is, thankfully, off the battlefield. So hopefully the guys could get the upper hand now. But we'll see you next week. As always, let me know what you guys thought about the episode. And we out.